Okay, so here's our study guide for the Unit 1. At this point, if you've done all of the notes and videos as well as some activities that we've done in class, you should be able to think through these and actually answer some of these questions. So I plan on going through and trying to talk out loud my thought process for each of these problems for you. It is due tomorrow because we are starting to test Thursday and Friday. So when you are face to face with me is when we will be assessing. If you have questions, you will need to email them to me or Miss Mullen, or so we can actually go over those with you. I don't mind Zooming again if you need me to. So number one, concept one, this is real numbers, exponents, ordering on the number line. So which of the following are integers? Well, remember integers are, well, there's the natural numbers. So let me put this little guy out here for us. We have natural numbers. Are your counting numbers, and that would be like your 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Then we have whole numbers, which include the 0 and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. The next part of that is integers, and that's going to be the negative, the 0, and the positive whole numbers. So nice, pretty numbers, no decimals, no fractions. Then we get to just being rational, which include decimals and fractions, positives and negatives. So which of the following are integers? That means positive and negative. So positive and negative, not decimal or fraction. So not this one, not this one. So these are both in the positive or the negative on a nice crisp line on the number line. So A and B. What number is halfway between negative 3 and 4? Well, a couple of different ways we can do this. Halfway, or the average between the two, is going to be add them together and divide by 2. However, we can also do it on the number line. If this is my 0 and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, visually, we can say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. So it's going to be halfway between there. So if this is 1, so halfway between 0 and 1 would be 1/2. That's one way to show your work. The other way to show your work is negative 3 plus 4 divided by 2, which ends up being 1 over 2, which is 1/2. Now, which expression is equal to 6 to the 4th power? Now, I'm asking which one, so it's just which one. It's not saying which expressions, so it's just one expression. So 6 to the 4th power means 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, right? 6 4 times. So that would be D. This is 10. They're adding those, and that's not what we do. 24, that we multiplying them, that's not what we do. And then flipping the order of those, having the base change, is not what we do. Number 4, plot the following numbers on the number line. Tell whether each number is a whole number. So what I'm looking for is tell whether they're a whole number. So I want you to plot and tell if it's a whole number. So let's start plotting them at negative 3 1/2. So here's negative 3, there's negative 4. So negative 3 1/2 is right here, that's A. 2 is right here, and that's going to be B. Oops, not so much. 2 is going to be right here, and that's B. 2 1/2 is positive, so 2 is going to be, and 1/2 is going to be between 2 and 3, and that's going to be my C. D is negative 3, so here's 0, so negative 3 is D. E is 1.75, so not quite 2, it's like $1.75. So if that's 1, that's 1.5, I'm going to say right about there. And that's going to be E at 1.75, and F is at 4. Then it's asking me, tell whether each is a whole number. Whole numbers are the 0 and then all the counting numbers. So nope, yes, whole number. That's a decimal, so nope. That's negative, so it's an integer but not a whole number. A decimal, nope, and yes. So it would be 0 and all the counting numbers. Which answer is nearer to 1? Well, basically this is going to have to make us think a little bit more about our absolute value. Now keep in mind, my level 4s and level 5s, that's where you're getting into the A range. So they're going to be a little more challenging. Your level 1, 2, and 3 type are your basic questions for proficiency. So number 5 here, nearer to 1. Well, first of all, let's put them into decimal. So 5 divided by 6. So if I actually take 5, divide by 6, you should end up getting 0.83. I like putting things into money. So that's 0.83. And then this one is actually, if I it's going to be 6 divided by 5, which gives me 1.2, like $1.20. So now I need to find out the distance from 1. So I want the distance, means distance is absolute value. So absolute value of 1 take away 0.83. Well, 1 take away 8.3 ends up being 0.17. And 1 take away, absolute value of 1 take away 1.2 ends up being 0.2. So the one that is the smallest value means it's closer, right? Because it's the shortest distance from 1, and that's going to end up being A. So it's the shortest distance from 1. Okay, concept 2, order of operations and evaluating expressions. So here's where we're going to simplify. That means order of operations using PEMDAS. So don't forget we have P, E, multiply, divide in order, left to right, add, subtract in order from left to right, and then we have that fraction bar. So on top, I'm going to do 20 divided by 5 first. That gives me 4 plus 3 times 2. And then now I'm going to do the 3 times 2. So 4 plus 3 times 2 is 6, which gives me 10. So on top I have 10 divided by, bring it over, 2. Now do that fraction bar piece. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Given the expression 3 times 2 to the t power, evaluate when t equals 1. So I'm going to say 3 times 2 to the first power. So that's essentially 3 times 2, which is 6. And then evaluate it when t is 4. So I'm going to say 3 times 2 to the 4th power. Well, 2 to the 4th power means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which ends up being 4, 8, 16. So I end up with 3 times 16. And 3 times 16, when I multiply that out, gives me 48. Make sure you're showing your work, please. I don't mind if you use a calculator, but show your steps. Even if you're using a calculator, I need to see your thought process. If the product of 6 integers is negative, at most, how many of the integers can be negative? Explain your reasoning. Well, if I have 6 integers, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I know my answer has to be negative, correct? Well, I know a negative times a negative makes a positive. A negative times a negative makes a positive. So over here, I can only have one more negative, correct? To get a negative answer. Because if I put another negative, it's going to be positive. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 negatives. Number 4. Select all where x equals 3 is a solution. So basically, I want you to plug in, either solve or substitute and simplify. You can do it either way. So on this one, if I plug in a 3 for x, it's going to be 3 minus 3 equals 0. 0 equals 0. That's true. 1 plus 3 equals 2. Well, if that's 4 equals 2, that's not true. 9 minus 3 equals 3. Well, 9 minus 3 is 6 equals 3 is not true. 6 equals 2 times 3. Well, 6 equals 6. That's true. 3 squared equals 9. Well, 9 equals 9. Yep, that's true. And the last one, I've got 1/5 times 3 equals 3. And that actually gives me 3/5 equals 3. And that's not true. The other way to do that same set of problems would be to simply solve it. So I could have said x minus 3 equals 0, add 3, x equals 3. So yes, here I could have went minus 1, and gotten x equals 1. Not true. I could have taken this and said take away 9, negative x is equal to negative 6, so x equals 6. That's not true. Here I could have said I've got 6 equals 2x, divide by 2, x equals 3, and that's true. If I have x squared equals 9, I could have taken the square root of both and then got x is equal to 3. And then the last one over here, I could have said 1/5 x equals 3 times 5 over 1 times 5 over 1, x equals 15. And that's not 3, so it would be a no. That's another option. So either plug it in and solve, or actually solve the actual equation. Now the next one, draw a circle around the expression which is greatest when n is a negative number. So when n is a negative number, n is negative. So now we're just really working with our signs. So thinking about your signs. If I have a negative number minus 2, my answer is going to be negative. 2 times a negative number is going to be a negative answer. So let's just work with our positives and our negatives. If I have a negative squared, it means negative times a negative, which makes it a positive. D, if I have negative divided by 2, it's going to be negative. 2 divided by a negative is negative. So the only one that is a positive, which is going to be the greatest, is going to be C. Then we have distributive property. Distributive property, we have two different ways, like the basics, just cut and dry, which is the algorithm, which most of you like. Is that here at the top, we're going to distribute this to each one of those items. So it's going to be 4 times the 2x plus 4 times 5. And we end up with 8x plus 20. This one, same idea, distribute. You're going to have, I'm going to write it out to the side, negative 1/2 times negative 8x plus negative 1/2 times 12y. Negative and a negative makes a positive. Half of 8 is 4, so 4x. Positive and a negative makes a negative. Half of 12 is 6y. 2a, actually I was going to have 2a and 2b, so it's just 2. Get rid of the a. Find the area of the figure, write the expression, and simplify. So on here I've got, this area is actually 6x, and this is 6 times 5, which is 30. We also know that this up on the top is like a x plus 5. So we're going to have 6 times x plus 5, and when I simplify that distributive property, I get 6x plus 30. And this would be units squared. Find the area of the rectangle. Again, it's going to be area, so units squared. It would be 14 times 5x plus 3. So 14 times 5x plus 14 times 3. 14 times 5x, that gives me 20, b4 be 70, so 70x plus, and 14 times 3 is 42. And this is going to be units squared as well. Number 4, complete the equation with the numbers that make the expression on the right side of the equal sign equivalent to the expression on the left side. So basically I'm looking at this and saying, what is in common between a 75 and a 25? Because I had to multiply something. This is like a 1, so something times 1 gave me 25b. So I'm going to assume it's 25 out here. Now 25 times what gives me 75a? I think that's 3. So 25 times 3 is 75a, and 25 times b gives me 25b. Perfect. Your daily workout plan involves a total of 47 minutes of running and swimming. So I've got 47 minutes of running and swimming. So I'm going to say running, swimming. You burn 13 calories per minute when running. Okay, and that goes with that. And 5 calories per minute when swimming. Okay. Let R be the number of minutes that you run. So R equals running minutes. Find the total number of calories you burn in your workout if you run for 20 minutes. So running, I've got a total of 47 minutes. So I'm going to run for 20 of them. So 47 minus 20 gives me 27, and that's going to be minutes swimming. So I've got running, R. I know that 13 calories per running plus 5 calories per, let's call it swimming S. Okay, so running is a total of 20 minutes, so 13 times 20 plus 5 times my swimming is 27. And now I should be able to simplify that and get my values. So 13 times 20 is 260 plus 5 times 27 is 135. Add those together and I have a total calories of 395 calories. Again, this is a level 5, so this is application. This is where you're getting your A. Concept 4, integer operations. So on the top part, you have quite a few of them, but it's your add, subtract, multiply, and divide with your integers. And then I start doing some concept-based information after that. So here's our basics. If I have a negative 12 plus a negative 10, I want to see that you know that that's a minus. So negative 12 and negative 10, or left 12, left 10, gives me left 22. Um, 13 plus negative 8, so plus a negative means it's minus. So 13 minus 8 is 5. 17, negative 17 plus 4. So you owe me $17. You give me 4. Now you only owe me 13 more. 36 minus 5 is 31. I'm not changing the rules of math. That's like elementary math right there. Here I've got negative and negative makes a positive, so it's plus. So negative 37, you owe me $37. You give me 6, you still owe me 31. 15, take away negative 7 means plus 7. So 15 plus 7 is going to give me 22. 14, take away 21. So $14 you have, but you want to spend 21. You're short $7. Negative 11 times a negative 7. Negative times a negative is a positive. 11 times 7 is 77. 12 times negative 2. So positive and negative is a negative. 12 times 2 is 24. A negative times a positive, so 12 times 3, so negative. 12 times 3 is 36. Negative 21 divided by 3, positive and a negative here, so it's going to be negative 7. And negative 56 divided by negative 8, so negative and a negative makes a positive. 56 divided by 8 is 7. I like 7s today, it seems like. I think on the answer key, this one had an error, so just FYI. Let me highlight that for you. I had an error on that one, on the answer key. If the scuba diver consistently drives 20 meters for the next 3 minutes, dives 20 meters for the next 3 minutes, write an expression which depicts the situation. Well, you're diving, so negative 20 for 3 minutes. And then if I simplify that, it would be down 60 meters. So this is the expression, this is it simplified. I'll take either way. The temperature dropped to 13 degrees below zero, so it's negative 13. How many degrees does it have to rise in order to reach 0 degrees? Well, it has to rise 13 degrees. At 2 p.m., so 2 o'clock, the temperature is 35 degrees. At 2:04, whoops, 2:04, the temperature is 7 degrees. Use sign number to represent and find the rate of change. So rate of change, that's a new word for us, in degrees per minute. So per minute, this is 4 minutes total, correct? And my degree change is how much? 35 dropping down, so it's negative 28, I think. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, yep. So now I know my change. This is my temp, or degrees, and I want degrees per minute, right? So it's going to be negative 28 per 4 minutes. So I want to know how much it is per 1 minute. So negative 28 divided by 4 is going to be dropping 7 degrees. So negative 7 degrees per minute. And that's where that per, that keyword per, kind of makes you have to think about what is it that's talking about. And number 5 on that concept, you open a savings account by making a $500 deposit. Then you've made a deposit of $30 for the next 3 days. So I've got, write an expression to show how much money is in your account after 3 days. So if you had $500 that you put in plus $30 times 3 days, right? So that's 500 plus 90. So you have $590 after 3 days. Because it does say find that balance, so make sure you've got that. So here's the expression, and then here's your balance. If you put it in words, that's fine. You could say the deposit plus $30 times 3 days equals, or is. If you continue to deposit the same daily amount, when will your balance reach 1,000? Well, I know I want my ending balance to be 1,000. I can do it piece by piece. Just show me your work. But I would say it's 500 plus $30 times number of days equals 1,000. So I'm going to let number days equal x. So 500 plus 30x equals 1,000. Take away 500. Take away 500. So now I'm at 500. So 30x equals 500. Divide by 30. X is equal to, and it gives me, I believe, 16.6. Repeating. Well, that can't have 2/3 of a day and count that, so it has to round up. 17 days. Last concept, vocabulary and expressions. So find the opposite. Opposite means flip the sign, right? Look the other way. So this is going to be positive 5, negative 7, negative 1, that's supposed to be a point, 7, and 8, positive 8. Simplify means to drop the sign. So it's just a 4. 2 minus 5 is negative 3 absolute value, which is just 3. This is going to be 5 plus 3, which is just going to be 8. Identify the terms and like terms, coefficients, constant terms of the expression. So 5x minus, okay, so terms. I've got a 5x. I've got a 4x squared. Oops, and it's negative. Don't lose that negative. I've got a negative 6x, and I have a positive 9. My coefficients are the numbers in front of my variables. So that's going to be a 5, negative 4, and a negative 6. My like terms, these are x's, so they're like, so 5x and the negative 6x. And my constant term is the plain number 9. Write the algebraic expression for the following. The product means times, of 13 and a number x. So 13 times x, or you can just write it 13x. The sum means add. 6 and a number x, so 6 plus x. 10 more than means I'm going to add 10 to a number x plus 10. A number x is being decreased by 7, so x minus 7. It has to be in that order. And the last one we have here, 1/4 will give you 40 minutes at a parking meter. So 1/4 gives me minutes, 40 minutes. If you'll be gone for 2 hours, which is 120 minutes, let's put your minutes on the bottom, 120 minutes on the bottom. How many quarters do you need? Q. We don't know. So what did I multiply 40 by to get to 120? That's one way to do it. So 1 times, so that was actually times 3. So times 3 gives me 3. So I need 3/4. The other way to look at this is 1 over 40 quarters per minute. 1/4 for 40 minutes is equal to Q over 120. And then you can do your cross product. So 40Q is equal to 1 times 120. Divide by 40, divide by 40. Q equals 3. So that's how you know you need 3/4. All right. So if you have any other questions, please send me an email. Give me questions. I'll have them ready for before the assessment. The assessment will take you a lot of time, and I want to make sure you have plenty of time when you're in class. So you'll do the assignment, come into class, ask questions, take your assessment, and then you'll work on Unit 2, Day 1.